Hello! Today, I will tell you about the 10 deadliest animals that lived in the ancient world. Arthropleura. This prehistoric giant centipede species, which grew up to 3 meters in length, had a shield-like body type and was the largest invertebrate that ever lived. It had no enemies that could hunt it, although it was not a carnivore. When it got angry, it could accelerate quickly with its dozens of legs and rise up, and with its weight of 500 kilograms, it could pounce on its victim and deliver very powerful bites. Gigantopithecus, Gelgant, and Pittacus are described by scientists as the largest primate in history. This creature, which could reach 3 meters in length and half a ton in weight, was 9 times heavier than its closest relative, the orangutan. This is where the nickname King Kong comes from. When the fossils found to date are examined, it is understood that it was normally a herbivore, but it had an overdeveloped jaw and used its teeth to crush hard objects. Scientists believe that this creature became extinct only 100,000 years ago. In other words, it lived together with humans for tens of thousands of years. Smilodon. A Smilodon colony usually consisted of 1 male and 10 females. An adult Smilodon weighed 600 kilograms, was 2.75 meters long, and had 20-centimeter teeth. The pressure exerted by its jaw, which could open 120 degrees, was enough to shatter a lion's spine in one go. Although its biggest competition was the 80-kilogram giant wolves, the ancestors of today's wolves, who were after the same prey. Smilodon always won an unconditional victory. The tallest animal that ever lived in history, these giant creatures had an average height of 60 meters and weighed more than 150 tons. Their greatest weapon, their tail, could move so fast that it could create sonic booms by exceeding the speed of sound with its whip effect. However, they could not keep their heads up for long periods of time, because it was not possible for their hearts to pump blood 60 meters up. Jeholepterus xeholopherus is a strange creature that resembles a cute cat when you look at its face, until you learn what it does, of course. These creatures, the ancestors of today's bats in the Jurassic period, were small compared to the size of dinosaurs, and with their light bone structure, they could fly behind them like a shadow and land on them for hours, sucking their blood without being noticed. This most evil creature in dinosaur history is also known as a soul sucker. Spinosaurus. With a length of 8 meters and a weight of 9 tons, Spinosaurus is known as the largest predator to have ever set foot on Earth. The scientific world describes it as the most terrifying combination of a T-Rex, a crocodile, and a whale, because it is the lord of both the seas and the land. Being the first dinosaur to adapt to living in water, caused sharks and crocodiles, said to be the killers of the seas, to become prey rather than hunters from that moment on. Velociraptor. Probably the most important feature that set it apart from other dinosaurs was its intelligence and size. The fastest species, Velociraptor, at 50 centimeters tall and 15 kilograms in weight, could run on 2 legs and leap at speeds of 40 kilometers per hour onto the heads of much more powerful, larger predatory dinosaurs, stabbing them with its 15-centimeter-long sickle-shaped claws. Because they hunted in groups, very few dinosaurs were able to escape the jaws of velociraptors. This included even the 3-meter-long Lyraphosasaurs, which blinded their victims by spitting. Pterosaurs. The largest flying animal, pterosaurs had a wingspan of around 12 meters. In other words, they were larger than F-16 jets. Their fossils have been found on all continents. They are known for catching medium and small-sized dinosaurs like worms and flying high to kill them by throwing them on rocks. The rulers of the sky would become clumsy and easy prey the moment they landed on the ground. Titanoboa, the largest snake to have ever lived on Earth, Titanoboa began to dominate the forests after the extinction of dinosaurs. These muscular masses, which could grow up to 15 meters long, would hide in the rainforests, crawl stealthily, and feed on prehistoric crocodiles. Although the pressure the snake exerted while strangling its victims weighed tons, the steel-skinned crocodile, which I will explain in a moment, and which is the toughest creature in the animal kingdom, could sometimes escape this pressure. This relentless struggle was complex. Sometimes Titanoboa would win. Sometimes Sarcosuchus. Sarcosuchus, the largest crocodile that ever lived, Sarcosuchus weighed 10 tons and was over 12 meters long. Its head alone was 1.80 centimeters. Experiments and proportions conducted with modern crocodiles have shown that it had a jaw pressure of around 8 to 9 tons and that it would tear apart large pieces of meat it grabbed from its prey by turning around itself many times using the death spin technique. Therefore, it is estimated that it fed on dinosaurs, sharks, and whales. Only if it had lived in the same period could it have been killed by Megalethon, the largest species of shark, a prehistoric monster that was 50 tons, 30 meters long, and could swallow anything that was 3 meters long when it opened its mouth. Dinosaurs ruled the world for 150 million years. We have only lived for 200,000 years. If we assume that they lived 24 hours, we have only lived for 2 minutes. We still have a lot to discover.